Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. By signing center Al Horford, the Warriors made a great deal, but unfortunately the player hasn't lived up to expectations and the Warriors continue to have problems in the paint. It's very likely that the Warriors will trade Al Horford and sign another center. If the Golden State Warriors decide to end their partnership with Al Horford early, perhaps the Boston Celtics could bring him back. Son Palmer on Burrow's frustration, Philip. Al Horford has struggled to find his footing with the Golden State Warriors this season, largely due to injury. However, his rough season could open up a dream scenario in which the Warriors buy him out, giving him a pathway to re-sign with the Celtics this season. That said, some may not be on board with that plan. For the last 4 years, Horford was at the core of everything the Celtics have done. He was the backbone of their defense, a crucial offensive floor spacer, and a leader in the locker room. But this summer, he decided to leave the Celtics in favor of San Francisco, inking a 2-year contract, with a player option in the second season. But it hasn't gone well. Celtics could pursue Al Horford buyout if Warriors go that route. Still, the Horford the Celtics know is unlike the player who has taken the floor for Golden State this year. And they could still use him. It seems highly unlikely that the Warriors would buy out Horford, and even more unlikely that the Celtics would sign him if they did. However, adding Horford would absolutely help the Celtics center room. He would give them a great backup center behind Mimi Esqueta. A vocal leader and someone who knows what it takes to win. And if they could land him on a minimum contract post-buyout, in line with around when Jason Tatum could potentially return, it could be a perfect storm. That said, Horford just left the Celtics in free agency for the second time in his career, and he hasn't been having a great season in Golden State. After leaving twice, what would his reception be if he came back a third time? Right now, Horford is dealing with a back injury. He has only appeared in one of the Warriors' last 7 games, and he has yet to play in 5 games in a row for Golden State. And when he has been on the floor, the same help he provided Boston with for the past 4 years. His shooting has been way off all year, which hasn't been ideal for the Warriors. So far this year, Horford has appeared in 13 games for the Warriors, playing 21.5 minutes per contest, the lowest number of his entire career. In those appearances, Horford has averaged 5.6 points, 4.4 rebounds, 2.0 assists, 1.0 steals, and 1.0 blocks while shooting a brutal 32.1% from the floor and 29.8% from deep on 4.4 three-point attempts per game. Perhaps Horford could turn it around in Boston, however unlikely the concept is, but the question is, would the Celtics want him? Al Horford has left Steve Kerr and the Warriors with a brutal decision to make. It wasn't supposed to be like this. The Golden State Warriors waited all offseason, literally, to sign Al Horford. He was their prized free agent. They were excited to have a center who would space the floor and take some pressure off Draymond Green at the 5. There were concerns about his age, 39, but Horford was coming off a season in Boston in which he averaged 27.6 minutes across 60 games. So far this season, Horford has played in 13 of the Warriors' 25 games, averaging only 5.6 points, 4.4 rebounds, 2.0 assists, and 1.0 blocks per game, shooting 32.5% from the field and 29.8% from 3. He is currently dealing with a sciatic nerve issue in his back, as he has been for a couple of weeks now. Horford will miss his 3rd straight game on Friday when Golden State hosts Minnesota. Even when Horford was available and in the lineup, he struggled. With the February 5 trade deadline creeping closer, the Warriors could try to land another center. A move could result in Steve Kerr benching Horford when he returns, or maybe Golden State could even try to trade him before the deadline. Quentin Post has stepped up for the Warriors this season, but that doesn't mean the front office doesn't need to add a reinforcement. There is a reason NBA insider Jake Fisher linked Golden State to Miles Turner, subscription required, in a potential trade involving Jonathan Kuminga. Time is ticking for the Warriors to win another title with Steph Curry. Al Horford's signing isn't aging well for the Warriors. It's unclear how long Horford will be sidelined, but LeBron James missed the Lakers' first 14 games of the season due to sciatic nerve irritation. It's not something that you can take lightly. Between missing games for rest, minor injuries, and now sciatica, Horford has been unable to be a consistent presence on the floor for Golden State. It's cost him and the team. The Warriors knew that he'd be somewhat limited given his age, but they certainly didn't expect the first quarter of the season to go the way it did. Hopefully, Horford will be able to comfortably return to play soon. Unfortunately, that may not be enough for Golden State, as the Warriors look for ways to improve their roster before the deadline. The front office truly believed that Horford would be a difference-maker, even signing him to a 2-year deal, but the team hasn't seen the version of the center who helped Boston win a title less than 2 years ago. As coaches, players, fans, and the media are reminded around the trade deadline every year, the NBA is a business, and the Warriors may have a tough business decision to make. Warriors officially have Moses Moody problem on their hands ahead of trade deadline. Jonathan Kuminga's DNP against the Chicago Bulls on Sunday may have been the biggest rotation talking point from the Golden State Warriors' recent back-to-back, but it was also a tough week for fellow 2021 lottery pick Moses Moody, who lost his starting role. Moody's inconsistent form and role has been a problem over recent weeks, and also subsequently makes it hard to evaluate his true worth to the Warriors and whether he could even be involved in a mid-season move before the trade deadline. Warriors have a problem evaluating Moses Moody's trade candidacy. At his best, Moody is a 40% plus three-point shooter who also has the size and length to be disruptive defensively. When playing at that level, the fifth-year wing is a valued starter which, combined with a team-friendly 3-year, $37.5 million contract, makes him someone Golden State should keep at all costs. However, Moody's also had periods of cold shooting this season, and has struggled to become the effective point-of-attack defender the Warriors need. In his 5 games prior to the weekend's back-to-back, Moody averaged 10.4 points on 34.6% shooting from the floor and 26.5% from three-point range. As a result, the 23-year-old was demoted from the starting lineup against the Cavaliers and Bulls, with Buddy Hield preferred despite his own underwhelming start the season. Perhaps Steve Kerr just wanted to get more movement shooting out there without Stephen Curry, but even Will Richards' retained starting role over Moody is incredibly notable. Moody was serviceable in his 19 to 20 minutes off the bench in both games, going for a combined 20 points and 6 rebounds on 5 of 11 shooting from the floor and 4 of 8 from three-point range. They weren't statement performances that screamed a return to the starting lineup, but perhaps the return of Curry and Draymond Green brings a rejig that elevates Moody back into the mix. Right now the Warriors have 3 veteran stars in Curry, Green and Jimmy Butler, followed by a host of rotation players that almost require mix and matching on a game-by-game basis. The fact Moody hasn't risen above that into a guaranteed 4th or 5th starter is disappointing, and also signifies the sort of issues Golden State have faced this season. The front office now needs to assess whether Moody is indeed one of their 4 or 5 best players, or whether his $11.6 million salary for this season could actually be combined with others, namely Kuminga, to upgrade the roster and improve the Warriors' championship credentials before the trade deadline. Fisher believes Warriors would only trade Draymond for Giannis. Golden State wants Steph Curry to win another championship. Even though he's 37, he's still one of the most impactful players in the league. The Warriors traded for Jimmy Butler before last season's deadline in a surprise move to boost their title odds. Butler has yet to win a championship himself. If a Giannis bidding war starts, it's hard to see the Bucks accepting an offer like the one above from the Warriors. Giannis will be eligible to sign an extension this summer, with Milwaukee or another team, so given his contract situation, he will have a say in where he goes. A team shouldn't want to trade for him without a commitment that he'll re-sign, although that could happen. There would be other teams that the Bucks could turn to that could make a better offer than the Warriors. Playing with Steph in the Bay could be appealing to Giannis, but maybe he wants to stay in the East. If he does want to play in the West for the first time in his career, it could be to join Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs, a team that has the draft assets and players to get the Bucks' attention. The Giannis situation in Milwaukee is still unfolding. He is currently out with a calf strain. With less than 2 months until the deadline, talks could ramp up, barring what seems like a miracle from the 10 to 15 Bucks, who struggle enough to win games when Giannis plays. By no means do the Warriors want to trade Draymond. As Fisher said, they value him too much, but Giannis is a once-in-a-lifetime player. If the Bucks agreed to a Giannis trade with the Warriors that would send Draymond to Milwaukee, Golden State would do it. Steve Kerr provides update on Steph Curry's availability for Timberwolves game. Steve Kerr said that Stephen Curry practiced in full Wednesday and that it is looking promising for him to return to the Warriors for Friday's game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. Curry has missed the last 5 games with a quad injury. The Warriors have gone 2-3 in his 5-game absence, and overall they are 4-5 without him this season. Who will start with Steph when he returns? Assuming Draymond Green returns from his foot injury, the Warriors will start Curry, Green and Butler. The other 2 spots are not certain. I'm expecting Quinton Post to start at center. The second-year big had a great road trip, and his defense continues to be a major plus for Golden State. The Warriors are 12.4 points per 100 possessions better with Post on the floor than when he's off, per cleaning the glass. That differential ranks in the 97th percentile. That leaves the biggest mystery of all, which is who will start at shooting guard. I argued here that it should be DeAnthony Melton, but Melton is in just his 3rd game back from being out for more than a year, so he could still be ramping up. If not Melton, the Warriors could go with Brandon Podziemski, Moses Moody or Buddy Hield. Pods is coming off his best game in weeks, so he might get the nod. But over the long haul, Melton's superior point-of-attack defense should make him the perfect complement to the rest of the starters. Warriors reportedly make decision on trading Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga's start to the 2025-26 campaign has been less than ideal. From an unexpected DNP against the Chicago Bulls on Sunday to several lackluster performances off the bench and as a starter, Kuminga hasn't exactly been a high-impact player for the Dubs thus far. With the Warriors needing to upgrade their roster before the February 5 trade deadline, many believe the franchise will attempt to feature Kuminga in a beneficial midseason deal. According to ESPN's Anthony Slater, Golden State has made its decision on potentially moving on from the 6'7" NBA champion forward this season. The Warriors are expected to explore the Kuminga trade market in the weeks ahead as the probability of a split before the February deadline remains strong, Slater wrote Sunday. In other words, the Dubs don't view Kuminga as an untouchable asset and are more than willing to trade him if the right opportunity arises. Kuminga and the Warriors would both be deemed winners in a future blockbuster transaction. Kuminga needs a fresh start more than ever and could transform into a more versatile/well-rounded asset with a different franchise. The Warriors, on the other hand, could use Kuminga to help them land the perfect win-now piece to pair with Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler. Things simply haven't worked out for the former lottery pick in the Bay, making Slater's report unsurprising. Steve Kerr reveals what Warriors are asking for from Jonathan Kuminga amid struggles this season. Jonathan Kuminga has been one of the hottest topics in the NBA since the summer. After his contract saga was finally resolved, Golden State Warriors fans hoped he would evolve into the cornerstone player the franchise envisioned. However, reality has fallen short of those expectations. Following a strong start to the season, Jonathan Kuminga's performance dipped significantly, compounded by a nagging injury. Now that he has returned to the court, the young forward finds himself struggling to crack the rotation. As his role diminishes, the noise surrounding a potential trade, which becomes eligible on January 15, is getting louder by the day. Steve Kerr explains why Kuminga failed to gain more minutes with the Warriors. So, what is the problem? Head coach Steve Kerr recently shed light on the concerning situation, revealing that the 23-year-old has not met certain expectations despite his undeniable potential and the guidance of Warriors veterans. He's obviously a guy with a lot of ambition, which I love. He wants to be a star. He's got the ability that gives him that hope and gives us that hope. But there has to be a consistent level of play in order to achieve that, Kerr said. Steph Curry could take former LeBron James teammates' approach to extend his career, suggests ex-NBA star. You've seen Jimmy, Butler, really take him under his wing this year, and I love what veteran players have done, Draymond and the staff, they're really fighting for him in his corner. So, the potential is there, but there should be a level of consistency. Kerr emphasizes that in the NBA, potential alone isn't enough to guarantee playing time. We're talking about the best basketball league in the world, so the consistency has to be there for us. And if it's not there, then it makes it much more difficult for me to give him consistent minutes and give him starts. So that's what we're asking for, a more consistent level of production, he added. Jonathan Kuminga's lack of consistency may lead to him getting traded sooner. The numbers back up Kerr's hesitation. This season, Kuminga is averaging just 12.4 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 2.6 assists per game, while shooting a poor 32% from three-point range. In his last 4 games, Kuminga has scored in double digits just once, despite logging at least 20 minutes in 2 of those contests. That level of production is far below what the Warriors require from a player expected to be the third main scorer behind Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry. Adding to the irony, while Kuminga struggles, unheralded roster players like Pat Spencer and Will Richard, who ostensibly have lower ceilings, have stepped up, burying Kuminga deeper on the depth chart. If this trend continues, Butler and Draymond Green may run out of patience, and the Warriors could look to move on from their former lottery pick sooner rather than later.